Welcome everyone. I'm Mark. This is Mark's Travel Time, and boy do we have a video. We have a show that is chock full of information. Welcome everybody. What we're going to try to do is get through the meat of it in the first 10 minutes because I know a lot of you come here and um, you don't want to watch the however long the live stream would go, an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours. So we're going to try to get through as much of this as possible. And I have to tell you, there is a lot going on right now. You're going to really like this cast. So to kick things off, I don't know what we're going to start with. We've got three really big stories. Let's start, we're going to let the audience build a little bit. So let's start with this one out of Pennsylvania, because I do have a comment on it. If transportation is essential, and essentially what they're talking about is rideshare. Can everyone hear me okay, by the way? If you can all just give me a thumbs up or say yes or something. I'm not using my microphone today. So being out, isn't it great being outdoors? Look at that. There is a hot air balloon that's traveling behind me. What are the odds I would have got that on my video? That is very, very cool. So there it goes. Hey, Payman, Lisa, everybody. We're going to wait till that hot air balloon goes by because I know that's going to be a distraction to everyone. And there it goes. All right. If transportation, rideshare, is so essential, why is taking a driving test been so difficult in Pennsylvania? So here's how the story reads. You know how these stories always go. They try to really get a human interest story going, right? Or an angle by talking about some individuals. Linda Crew, 59, wants to drive her 2018 Jeep Renegade. She doesn't want to take her grandkids to SEPTA, she said, and rideshare is expensive. But when Crew can get behind the wheel, has been up in the air. She needs to learn how to drive first. Yeah, I think that would be a good course of action. Crew, living in the Northeast Pennsylvania, with her daughter, scheduled lessons with Driven to Drive in late March to prepare for a driver's test in April. As the region came to a standstill amid the coronavirus, plans were put on hold. When I decide to get them, she said, then they want to shut the world down. She is not a happy camper. So she's frustrated, and she's asking why was a 30-minute Uber ride okay, but not a 10-minute road test? That is a really good question. The business has had to cancel thousands of exams, she said, and is hemorrhaging financially. And the same could be said for the tests that the states are giving. Now their travail is nearing an end with a decision by Governor Wolf to move all Pennsylvania counties to yellow status by June 5. The driving exam and instruction business should be back on the road soon. Okay, I get it, I understand it, it doesn't make sense. Why? Because it's a government. The government never makes sense, let's face it. So here's the thing. Here's how this relates to what's going on in Wisconsin. I'm sorry. I know that there's a couple of Wisconsin viewers who may or may not disagree with me, but we got a nutcase for a governor. And what he did is he just arbitrarily passed everybody that is going to be taking a driver test, that had a driver's test scheduled during COVID lockdown. They don't have to take the test. Boom. All they had to do was sign a notice that, yes, I know how to drive. And they got their license. I just think this is absolutely insane. I had an uncle. He was born in 1901. And I remember him telling me that when he got his driver's license, first he bought a Model T. And then, so this had to be, I don't know if he was born in 01. This was probably in the 1910s, early 20s, something like that. And he didn't know how to drive. So he said down on 25th and Greenfield in Milwaukee, which now is, it's a neighborhood that went up and kind of went down. I shouldn't say that because there are people that live in that area and I'm sure they think it's a nice neighborhood. It's their home. But Let's just say the neighborhood's seen better days. But when he was a young man, there was nothing there, open fields. So he went with a friend and his Model T, and his friend told him how to drive by driving around these vacant lots. And then he said he filled out a little coupon with 25 cents a quarter, and he sent it in to the state of Wisconsin. And there was a question on there, do you know how to drive? And he said yes. One of these days, I'm gonna have to look that up. But, you know, Lisa just said, I'm staying off the roads. And Lisa, I am behind you 100%. I think this is the weirdest thing, that they're just gonna arbitrarily pass people just on their word, on their say-so. You know, their parent can sign a document that said, yes, little Johnny and little, Betty Lou know how to drive. And they could be, you know, the worst monstrosities on the road, but they've got their license. So I thought that was interesting. I'm going to open it up to discussion in a minute. We're at 6 minutes, and I want to make sure I get through as much as I can in the first 10 to 12 minutes for people who are watching this later. This one is absolutely unbelievable. Question just came up, will Uber be approving these drivers? I'm sure they will. Uber fires 3,500 staff. How do they do it? On a Zoom call. Good Lord. You know, this company, sometimes, I hate to come down too hard, but that is a heartless thing to do. That is an absolutely heartless thing to do. Wait till you hear more on this. Amid this coronavirus pandemic, Uber USA made a Zoom call to 3,500 staff. So, how would you like to be in a call with 3,499 of your fellow colleagues and all be canned at the same time? The call was less than 3 minutes. Oh, there had to be a lot of compassion in that call. Russian Chevalot is Uber's head of customer service and made a call to 3,500 Uber employees. During the call, they were informed, this is your last day of work. They don't even give them a 2 weeks notice. And you know, if those employees wanted to quit and they didn't give a 2 weeks notice, that would be a permanent black mark on their record. They were told it was the last day of work. They had been dismissed. She informed the staff that the business is down by more than half. I get it. I understand. Businesses can't continue to support people, but couldn't you give them a leave of absence? Couldn't you put them, you know, on a furlough? Couldn't you give them the chance to, hey, maybe we could cut back on hours, something? Arbitrarily canned them all. Today is it. Let's all get on a call. 3,500 people, welcome. You're fired. So this is why they're eliminating 3,500 staff. She said, today will be your last day working for Uber. During the call, this part gets me. Oh man. She was very sad. I can be sad. I can be sad for 3 minutes. Come on. Anybody can pull that off. You know what they say? You know, sincerity is really important. When you learn to fake that, you got it made. 3 minutes. She was very sad and her voice cracked. She said, no one will want to be fired on a call like this. Well, duh. Unbelievable. Chevalot said that since Uber's business has been reduced, even the staff needs to be reduced. Okay. Uber said it was not easy to fire this many employees, and it's all because of the sudden spread of COVID-19. The company has made sure to give all the employees a strong severance package. We will see about that. Between January and March, Uber reported a net loss of $2.9 billion. Dastardly Dara said he will forego his salary for the remaining months of the year due to corona pandemic. All right. So, I don't know. It's just so heartless. I get that you sometimes have to fire people, but to do it like that on a call with 3,500 people and just say this is it, when we get off this call, you probably won't even be able to pack your stuff up from the office because we're probably all in lockdown at home. Just awful. You know what it reminds me of? Do you guys remember that old TV show Cheers from the 1980s? It was a funny show. And they had the character Norm. Norm was played by George Wendt, kind of a big, husky, chubby guy. And he got a job firing people at his company. Turned out he was really good at it because it hurt him so much he didn't want to do it. He just started blubbering and crying. And the people felt so sorry for him that they accepted the firing. And this is what this reminds me of. You know, she felt sad and her voice cracked. And after a while, what happened to Norm is he got acclimated to firing people, and he couldn't turn on the tears anymore. So I don't know. I feel terrible for those people. But that's what happened. And our last story of the day, we're at 10 minutes and 41, so we didn't make it under 10, but we're going to make it. Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash initiatives seeking labor law exemptions heads to California voters. This one absolutely kills me. An expensive ballot measure championed by Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash to exempt drivers from a new California law that requires companies to give benefits to workers qualified Friday for the November election. What they're talking about is AB5. November election. Remember what was happening last November? We had other Uber tubers, I'm not going to mention any names, who said, all right, we got him now. We got him on the ropes. We now have leverage. We're in control. Matter of fact, one of the Uber tubers said, I'm going to march over there and I'm going to hand Dara Khosrowshahi his job. I'm going to get him fired. Do you remember that Uber tuber that said that? And do you remember this channel? He said, you know, don't count your chickens. This is going to be a long fight. So here we are, a full year later, and it's an initiative on the ballot to get drivers exempt. Think about that. A year ago it passed and people were hooting and hollering and jumping for joy. And now, a year later, nothing's happened. California drivers aren't employees. Some of you say good. Some of you don't want to be employees. But it's just the idea of, you know, be careful what you ask for. When this happened, I told you, and I hate to say that I told you cards, I know a lot of you were with me. A lot of you were with me, and a lot of you agreed, yeah, you know, you're right, we think the same thing. But there was, you know, that guru on the other end of the Uber spectrum that was, you know, saying, follow me, boys. Let's go in and knock the king off his perch. King's still there. So I'll read a little more of this. This is interesting. The initiative promises to raise compensation for the ride-hailing and delivery drivers by requiring companies to pay above minimum wage. So you're going to get your $8 or $9, I don't know what minimum wage is, $11. I don't know what it is in California. Plus 30 cents a mile, which might not be a bad deal if you think about it. If you're driving and you're guaranteed a minimum wage plus 30 cents a mile, that's pretty good. I imagine, though, as always, they're going to put stipulations on that. They're probably going to require that you take rides, right? According to the coalition, it would also mandate, and this next one is quite good, mandate health care coverage for drivers who work at least 15 hours per week and provide insurance for on-the-job injuries. I like that. However, health care coverage, does that mean 100% Uber paid? Probably not. Does that mean a sky-high deductible? Probably. And I'll tell you, even if you have relatively good health care, you're talking to a guy who a short month ago was in the hospital with a heart attack and got a $55,000 bill. Now, my insurance covered a lot of that. But believe you me, I am, you know, seeing my bank account dwindle substantially. So the fact that they're saying healthcare coverage, it could be, you know, bottom of the barrel coverage, just enough to say, yeah, we're giving coverage. By the way, you're paying for it, or, you know, you're paying for a lot of it. You know, we have a copay, because very few businesses pay 100% of the insurance. So those are the stories, and it took me 14 minutes and 46 seconds to get that out. Now we're going to go back. I know it seems like I've been ignoring all of you that are live, But now it's time. Those of you who have been watching this afterwards, now's the time for you to leave your comments down below, like and share the videos, subscribe if you haven't already, and then just listen to the rest of this live stream. Those of you who are here, I'm going to go back and now we're going to chat to you. I didn't mean to ignore you, but you know, I do get off track when I start talking to the live people and we never get through the stories. So what do we got here? We got Lisa and Lala and Payman and Casey Plays, and they're all saying hello. So hello, everybody. We have Rich, and I kind of like that name, Ooh La La. Ooh La La, Ooh La La. Remember when Marty McFly thought that he had the sports almanac, and he had Ooh La La? It was a girly magazine. Andrew is here. So he says, that's what they call a normal day at Uber. By the way, no, it's not. It's not everybody's laid off. They were fired. Do you guys hear all the birds? Right here, I have my bird feeder, right there, and can you see it? Right there. That's my bird feeder, and I'll tell you, they are coming left and right. All right. Mark, you are cool. Well, thank you, Stefan. That was awful nice of you to say. Rideshare has been dead for at least 9 months. David is here. He knows it sounds bad. It's come up with other companies. Yeah, I don't care if other companies do it. You know, that is not, in my mind, that's never been a good excuse. That's what 10-year-olds say. Well, he did it. You know, it's never a good excuse. I think it's up to everybody to set their own standards. And now we're seeing that Uber has I think they set their standard pretty low. Now, if they treat their employees like that, how are they going to treat drivers? I'm out there driving, making 30 bucks an hour due to lack of drivers, but I'm afraid to drive for Lyft. All right. Amazon wants 20 per season prime time drivers. All right. Let's see. Because customers signed the ballot initiative, that's why they got that AB5 thing going through. Lisa remembers the funny episode. I'm a California driver, unemployment cut off. Yeah, here's the other thing about that unemployment. You know, they're saying a lot of people don't want to come back because they're doing better with unemployment than they're doing when they drove. But if you're offered work and you don't take it, government can cut off your unemployment. Now, California, you know, I'm not going to talk too bad about California, but you know my feelings. And I ran out of olives. Remember those little terrible olives I had? Well, you probably didn't see it because, you know, it was on the other channel. I was taking a break. I made a great dinner in yesterday's episode. This is getting real dark. Excuse me a minute. Stay here. I'm going to go turn this light on. Hopefully we can get a little more light. It's starting to get to be dusk. I'm still here, everybody. Okay, I don't know if that's going to add much light, but we will see. Okay, it helped a little bit. Yeah, this won't go on for 2 hours because when we lose the sun is when we lose the cast. All right. Guru is empty hope, I think. Yeah, the Guru. Anyhow, we were talking about my olives. I had these tiny little olives, you know, like G.I. Joe could have used them. Remember in the 60s? Yeah, some of you weren't born to the 80s. In the 60s, they had G.I. Joes. They could date Barbie. There are these big 12-inch G.I. Joes. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, I think my G.I. Joe did date Barbie. I'm not going to get into the details. And anyways, so I had these, I don't know where I got these tiny little olives. So I was putting, you know, 4 on a skewer because that equaled my regular 2 when I had my good cocktail olives. So I just realized I'm out today, so I'm going to have to go and pick up olives for my cocktail. Yes, I made a cocktail in a big water glass today. I thought it was going to be a long show. Payman says it's all water under the bridge at this point. What? I don't know what you're referring to. People getting fired, AB5, the fact that we had I don't know what you're referring to, Payman. If driver sues for back wages, they'll only be paid for passengers on board time, which is not much for some. Unique Sedan says hello. How low can they possibly go? 10 miles equals $3. Okay, it's going to be charge riders a medical fee. They probably would. Max says don't pay the bill. I pay my bills. I'm sorry, I pay my bills. I have never welched on a bill or anything in my entire life, and I'm not going to start now. Uber might not exist after this pandemic in 2021 or 2022, says KC. If you're driving and want minimum wage, you can't drive how you want. Well, you're getting 30 cents a mile too, though. Max says we're going to hell in a handbasket. We got Joey, we got Blue, we got Peter. Then they're all saying hello. And people are going to stop doing Uber. I don't know, maybe. Several media outlets reported Logan's Roadhouse fired their workers, but it turned out several workers weren't fired. AB5 in California is really messing things up for the rest of us, said one of you. Mark just smiled for your thumbnail. Don't I always smile for my thumbnail? I think Uber is doomed. I'm sorry you got a heart attack. I'm kind of sorry about that one myself. I think Uber would use this COVID thing as a way of shaving costs and distancing themselves from end users such as drivers and riders. Hello from Madrid. Well, Francisque, Madrid, awesome. I'm assuming it's Madrid, Spain, and not like Madrid, Illinois. All right, so now we're caught up. Isn't this a beautiful day? You can probably hear all the birds out here. 81 today. I was out in my car. I was buying some flowers to plant in the yard, and 81 is what my official Toyota Fahrenheit temperature. So that was great. It's beautiful right now. The sun is down, and like I said, I can see that I'm looking really dark here, so we're gonna have to make the best of it in the short time we have. Is it humid? It's not too bad. It never gets really terribly humid in Wisconsin. I'll tell you, Wisconsin in the summer, it's hard to beat. It is just beautiful here in the summer. As You Wish became jaded. Too many deaths and people out of work to absorb. A story about running out of olives. All right. Sounds like springtime. It is springtime and it is heavenly. But Uber would fold before making drivers employees. It would be tough. If they made drivers employees, it would be tough. It really would. California gets shot down again. People are running around with no mask and gloves, no social distancing. You know, we all make our choice. We all make a choice. I mean, I've always said I make reasonable accommodations. I don't run around with a mask. I wore a mask twice since this thing started. Twice. And both times were when I was entering a medical facility. That's it. I've been to restaurants. I've been to 3 restaurants now since that thing closed. I didn't wear a mask. But, you know, tables were separated, and I'm not, you know, coughing on people or letting people cough on me. So I wash my, I've always, see, the thing is, the thing that I think is bizarre about this, suddenly people are washing their hands. Suddenly people are using hand sanitizer. Suddenly people are wiping down their airplane trays. What were you doing before? Because I was always doing that stuff. I sat down in a restaurant, I always cleaned my hands with hand sanitizer. I got on the plane, I always wiped that down. And it, you know, so I'm thinking the reason this happened, we don't have to go to extreme measures. We just have to do the reasonable stuff people haven't been doing all along. That's wild. So, how's the cost of groceries? Not bad. I'm not noticing a huge difference in groceries. Yeah, isn't that crazy, Lisa? Lisa said 2 weeks ago it's snowing and now it's in the 80s. And because of the, I don't know, Francis was talking about they'll pay you 36% of what you were doing for 12-hour days, 6 hours a week. So, I don't know. You don't know when you were someone who coughed. Drives me crazy watching people cluster. Well, as you wish, like I said, It's, I know when I'm going to cough. You know, when I cough, I can cover my mouth. And besides, the masks people are wearing, they're wearing these bandanas like, you know, they're Jesse James robbing a train. The whole bottom's open. I don't know. You know, it's up to everybody. If you're afraid that someone's going to cough on you and you're going to stay inside, don't go to a restaurant. You know, go to places that are wide open and you can keep the social distancing. Everybody can make decisions. That's why I look at it. It is a beautiful day here, Gordon. Oh my goodness. That red-winged blackbird. He thinks he owns this yard. He gets so mad. Can you see him there? He gets so mad. Listen to him. That's the lady. And there's a gentleman red-winged blackbird that comes too. She is really scolding me. You see her down there, right under the feeder? What are you so mad about? So anyway, are you still driving with Uber? I've done some deliveries, but lately after that fiasco a few weeks ago, I shared with you that they took me off the platform, then they took me on, they took me off, put me on. They said they needed my license. I sent it in, and then they reactivated me, and then a couple days later they deactivated and said it wasn't clear. Why did they deactivate and then reactivate if it wasn't clear in the first place? And then they reactivated, and then they deactivated and said they needed some more documentation. I just said the heck with it. It was just so crazy. It was on and off like 3 or 4 times, and so. But I was doing delivery for a while. Johnny Pham says, hello, friend. Hello, right back at you. I tried to take Uber passengers today, and after my first passenger refused to wear a mask, I told her to leave. Then I just did deliveries. Well, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. We all have a choice to make. Personally, if I was driving passengers, I would just be putting up a plastic barrier. In my mind, that's a whole lot easier, and I don't care what they do. They don't want to wear a mask, they don't have to wear a mask. Assuming schools open by August, what will be different? Who knows? Who knows what's going to be different? I don't know. Blackbird, just like the Beatles tune. It's not a blackbird, it's a red-winged blackbird. So technically, it's a little different. Mark retired from Uber and Lyft. He's traveling with Mark now. Yeah, I'm not doing much traveling these days, Ari. A lot of these apps have problems. DoorDash is even worse. And the worst of all is Instacart, which is now controlled by bots. Oh, is this live now, Pam? It is live. You better believe it. So, yeah, it's just a beautiful day. I've got to get some more mulch in, though. You see my mulch is looking a little worn out. So, got to get some mulch. Got some things to do. Going to plant some flowers. A lot of beautiful birds around. I'll tell you what. On a daily basis, right down here behind me, there's a hole. I'm not even going to bother to try to. In the past, one time I set traps and I got 22 chipmunks and ground squirrels during the course of the summer. Or maybe it was the same one that kept coming back. I trap them and I take them, I don't know, I'd say maybe 2 miles away. There's like a nature preserve, and I release them there. Someone told me you do that, it's a death sentence for them. Other people say they find their way back. I don't know. All I know is I didn't want them in my yard because they dig holes and stuff. But I just gave up this year. So every now and then a chipmunk comes out of there and starts scolding me. On a daily basis, I'll tell you the birds I see. There's a cardinal that comes to visit. So pretty, the cardinals. A pair of cardinals. And I saw an oriole the other day. I see the red-winged blackbirds. A lot of these cool sparrows that have this white down their head. Very, very cool. And once a day, there's a turkey that comes up. I know it's a bird feeder. I get it. A turkey's a bird. But it's not the kind of bird you expect to find at your feeder. And once a day, that turkey comes up and he eats a little bit of seed. And then he goes upon his merry way. Okay, such a nice picket fence neighborhood. Reminds me of my childhood in Upper Michigan. Sweden is now paying the price for not separating and not wearing masks. Their infection and death rate just skyrocketed and doubled. Glad they tried, but now a cautionary tale. Well, you know, you're missing my point. You know, some people get so mad that if it can't have their way, they get really upset. And we all can keep ourselves safe. We all can choose the degree that we want to. I guess in a way, I might be in a high risk group even right now. Because as much as it pains me to say, I now have to say I have heart disease, right? I feel strong as I don't feel any different. The day I got back from the hospital, I felt no different at all. I'm eating a lot healthier. I'm losing a lot of weight, but I don't know. Probably exercising a little bit more. Anybody else dealing with EDD in California? A 410 solves a chipmunk. No, I don't like killing things. I really don't. With the exception of maybe vermin. I mean, really, the bad things, the disease-spreading things like rats, and I'm not really big on killing things. It doesn't make me feel good. One time when I was a kid, I had a slingshot, and I hit a bird, a robin, and it broke its wing or something. I don't know if he died. It stays with me to this day, and ever since that day, I don't ever want to hurt anything. Turkey, you mean dinner. Right after I got done saying I don't want to kill things, Gordon asked me if I'm going to make the turkey my dinner. South America is a new epicenter now. I heard Brazil is number 2 globally after USA. Yeah, but you can't say after USA, Andrew, because now you're looking at whole numbers and not percentages. If you really want to talk about like epicenters, you got to talk about percentages. Because the US did a good job of putting a cap on this thing. What year were you born? Let's put it this way. Al Capone asked me to call him Uncle Al. Mark, you're a very high risk. As you wish I might be. My issue, right? It's nobody else's concern. I don't mean cavalier, and I don't mean to put you down. I don't want to sound that way, but I honestly believe we're adults. I'll make our own choices. Let's see. Lisa's laughing about something. I think it's the Uncle Al comment. I got my bottle of sanitizer, 2 ounce, and Thin Crappy won't stop anything. Well, that's just it. Most of the masks, what I think they are, the masks are just for show. Because you see people, they're wearing them, there's gaps here, there's gaps here, they pull them down, they're wearing them around their necks, like, unless you got a trach hole right down here, what are you wearing your mask down here for? I think people do it to prove to other people, oh yeah, I'm being real safe, and they're not being safe at all. My guess, Mark was born in 57. I used to have a 57 Chevy. I think that was my all-time favorite car I ever had. Hey, there's that tree. Remember when the tree gets full and it looks like I have an afro? There it is again. I had that 57 Chevy. I just saw one today, and I had to go and talk to the guy. But I now have my my Corvette. I'll tell you, I would trade that Corvette in a heartbeat to have my 57 Chevy back. So, you're not concerned. Demand for drivers is very high and typically making $30 an hour. Uber, Lyft, Instacart now making bank on Uber Eats. Yeah, Uber Eats is making money for them, but they're still losing. They lost $3 billion. Was the 57 Chevy pale pink? No, it was blue and white. It was a great car. One of these days I'll bring a picture out and show it to you. You mentioned the slingshot sticking in your mind. I witnessed a horrific motorcycle accident, 975 Alligator Alley in Florida. Still haven't got rid of that. Well, that's a lot worse when it's dealing with human life. But I'm just saying, things happen in your life, and that was one of those pivotal things for me when I actually hurt an animal for no reason other than it was a target, and I'm not saying that other people shouldn't hunt and stuff. It just isn't my thing, I'm a firm believer in, unless people are affecting other people, live and let live. If a whole bunch of people decide to go to the restaurant, what that tells me is every one of those people has made a risk assessment. Because a restaurant, you don't have to go to a restaurant to live your life. So more of Disney Springs will open on Wednesday. Yeah, I've been watching all the vloggers down there. There's some goofy stuff going on there too, but I've been watching that. And I've got my Disney vacation planned in September. I didn't want to jump in too soon. I might go down for a weekend in July. We'll see. Do you believe in karma? Do you think that bad things you do may come back times three? I don't know. I just don't like to do bad things because why would you want to do bad things? I just live my life trying to be a good person. You know, um, I'm sure I do bad things to people unintentionally, but you know, I don't try to. I mean, I make fun of the rideshare suppressor every now and then, but I don't know how bad that is. That's you know, if you put yourself out there publicly, you're going to get criticized, right? If you come down in July, call me. I'll probably just be down there for a weekend. As much as I might like to, and just being honest with you, I probably wouldn't be calling people and stuff. I'd probably be in and out, you know, get to the park and stay for 2 nights or 3 nights and then head home. So, Mark doesn't wear his seatbelt. Sometimes I do. Most of the time I don't. Hello, James Clark. So, but that's my call. You know, what's crazy, like in Wisconsin, we have a seatbelt law, but we don't have a helmet law. And I'll tell you, driving without a helmet, riding without a helmet on a motorcycle is far, far more risky. I don't know percentage-wise what it is, but I'm betting that that would be 100 times more risky than riding without a seatbelt, driving without a seatbelt. Now I'm mixing up driving and riding, you know what I mean. Do you think Dara will have bad karma? I don't know. I don't know if I'm a big believer in karma. You know, the whole, that's kind of like Star Wars Force type stuff, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know. When I was 12, I shot a sparrow with my BB gun. Felt so bad, I've never shot anything in 65 years. Well, then you know how I feel, yeah. Michigan governor extended the stay-at-home order until June 12th. Yeah, they sued our governor, and they found it was illegal for him to do so. And that's another thing, these politicians, just because you think something's right doesn't mean it's illegal to do. And just because you think it's right doesn't mean that everybody else thinks it's right. You know, that's what it is to live in a democracy. There's give and take. A lot of people don't understand that. Heard the Packers won't do much football. Your thoughts? I hope they do, because I am going to be going to a game this year. My good friend Tim, the same guy who was with me when I ran into Jeffrey Dahmer on that fateful night, he invited me to a Packer game again. If you watch my other channel, we went to that Packers game last year. Same guy. The woman he's dating has season tickets, and so I hope that they do play. One of the things about pandemic is stocks are still at a discount. Cruise and airlines, oh man, I wouldn't take a cruise on a heartbeat. Now you say, but Mark, you throw caution to the wind. No, I don't. I talk about reasonable risk. I think going on a cruise ship is not a reasonable risk. That is unreasonable. I would not want to get stuck, you know, because it doesn't take much. A couple people get quarantined, you're stuck in that boat. Why do you think some businesses are still on reduced hours, such as Walmart? Isn't it safer people spread out over more hours and more? I don't know. You know, it's my feeling that, and I've said this before, so, you know, if you want to tune out for the next 30 seconds. Since the dawn of civilization, we have dealt with pandemics in much the same way. And that is, we got exposed to it. Some people died. People are dying now anyway. And we built up immunities. And as science became more advanced and smarter, we figured out ways to you know, immunize ourselves against that and inoculate ourselves against it. However, hiding away, I'm not sure what it does. Because first of all, they lied to us. Everyone that lies to us, as you wish, you can jump in on this, but they lied to us because they said, we're going to be locked up to flatten the curve. We flattened the curve. And they still want to keep us locked up. At some point, you're going to come out and it's still going to be there. It's not going away. So I think we have to, at some point, let nature take its course. We know that people with comorbidities are really the ones that are dying. It's not otherwise strong, healthy people. Some of them get this disease and don't even know it. Their symptoms are so minor. And it's when you do crazy stuff like Cuomo did and take people who are infected and put them all together in a nursing home where you're taking the weakest people in your population, exposing them. Now, In his defense, I think that he had a good a good news conference, and he said, well, hey, I was doing what the CDC recommended. So, again, it's easy to criticize a guy after all these people die, but I mean, that's my take. I think at some point, this thing's still going to be out there, and unless you want to dig a hole and hide away for 18 months and let the economy crash, which people are going to die from that too. People die from disease. I'm not dismissing it. I'm not belittling it, but it's a fact of life. And I'm off of that subject now because I think you all know where I stand. They sued a Michigan governor, but a judge ruled in her favor. Los Angeles has been extended to July for shutdown. I kind of feel when July comes, they'll extend it more. That's why I'm kind of glad it happened in my state, so they're leaving it up to the people. Walmart and others say reduced hours will sanitize their stores. Well, if they sanitize the stores, that's great. I feel bad for you, Mark, because we hit you with all those time. Well, that's what's fun about this, though. What's fun about this is I get to interact with you. I know you put me in hard spots sometimes, and I know some of you, and I'm not talking to most of you, I'm saying some, can't take honest debate. And if someone's opinion differs, then that's what I don't like about the political situation in our country right now. We're so divisive. And you can disagree with people and still live with them and still be friends and just vote for a different guy next time. But that's not the way it's been in this country for the past 4 years. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I think we ought to be more civil, And I think I can have my opinion and still be friends with those of you who disagree with me. Congratulations on 10,000 subs. That happened a long time ago, and it's been stagnant since then, but thank you. Let's see. We're back at Walmart here in North Carolina. They required certain settings. Yeah, as you wish, you can say I can hurt someone else, but those are other people that made the choice to be out. Like I said, we all make the choice. If you don't want to go to dinner, don't go to dinner. You keep trying to back me in a corner and saying you're going to hurt other people. No, I'm not going to hurt. The only people that I would have any chance, first of all, I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to do unreasonable things. But I think going out to dinner without a mask is not unreasonable. But everybody else in that restaurant made the similar decision. We assessed the risk and decided I feel pretty safe doing that. Now, so it's not me, it's everybody there made a similar decision. I'll tell you what it's like. It's like saying, look at the thousands, tens of thousands of traffic deaths we have every year. And yet, as a society, we said, those deaths we deem to be acceptable in order to have the modes of transportation we have. We could cut down traffic deaths to zero by outlawing vehicles. We could cut them down to zero. Just say, we're not going to drive anymore. We're not going to do it. We've decided, no, that's unreasonable. We're going to take reasonable risks. We're going to have speed limits. We're going to, wear seat belts, have airbags, have traffic controls, stoplights, that type of thing. And we realize there are going to be traffic deaths, but we deem that trade-off to be acceptable. And that's the same thing I'm talking about. People make a choice to go to a restaurant. And I know people don't like this because my logic is impeccable. I'm sorry for patting myself on the back there, but it's true. My logic is impeccable. People that go to the restaurants have decided the same way that we decide when we get in the car, we're going to take a risk. And we say, I'm willing to take that risk. Someone else might cough on me. Someone else might sneeze at me. Absolutely right. I could get COVID. And there's a minuscule chance that I could die. Yeah. Well, I could die driving to the restaurant too. So, it's impeccable. That logic is beyond dispute. What I just said there. Masks are required in North Carolina in certain settings. Um, let's see. What else do we say here? I guess we all value your feedback. I don't know if you all value it. You know, all I am is a guy with a big mouth and has a YouTube channel. Agree or disagree, that's fine. I encourage people to disagree with me, but I also think we have to be respectful in that disagreement. Orlando lady last week was doing blood tests for a knee replacement. They discovered she had the virus. She had no idea. Well, there you go. Are we going to keep this lockdown and the virus itself has the vaccine? We better not, because that's a year away. Because it comes in waves, and as long as this thing exists, it's not going anywhere. I agree with you, Casey. Okay, let's see. In normal pandemics, we quarantine the sick people, not the healthy people. And Francisca's saying yes, or from Spain. I think that's awesome that I have someone from Spain here. I've never been to Spain, but I hear that it's lovely. What was that song, Daniel? It was on a, Daniel's flying tonight on a plane, but he's the guy singing the song, telling the story. He's never been there, but his brother has, so he says it's beautiful. The tests don't seem accurate, so how do we know? That's a great question. I don't know. I'm not an expert at the virus. I'm only an expert in my opinion and the choices I make. Eventually, people will learn to accept the same risk, adapt to this virus. Gordon, maybe they will, maybe they won't, but I kind of suspect that humans will build up a tolerance to it, like we do every single disease that we have, or we'll come up with a vaccine or something. In the meantime, some people are going to die, some people are going to get sick. It's going to happen. Oh, Abby's right down there. She's looking out the window at me. You guys know Abby, right? My yellow cat, the one that likes me. I'll see if I can show her to you. Oh, hang on. There she is. That bar, I don't know if you saw that bar sitting on the floor. That's the bar that I put to block the sliding door. Rob McDonald says they want me to stay healthy and it's reasonable. I don't think it's reasonable, so I'm glad you want me to stay healthy. I want other people to stay healthy as well, but I'm going to make my own choices. Okay, and Casey says, and you've talked about this before, your 97-year-old grandma, you don't want to pass it along to her. I agree with you. I don't visit, I mean, my mother unfortunately passed in the past year. This is my first Mother's Day without Mom. It's tough, but I can imagine how bad you'd feel if you were the carrier that caused that. So, you know, that's the decision that you'll make, right? You have viewers from all over the planet. You're a global hit. I'm not sure about that. Well, you're probably right. I do have viewers from all over the planet. We know that because we see them visit us. A global hit, that's something else, because my views have been going. Of course, there hasn't been a lot of good stuff to talk about. It's all the same thing, unless you want to be like Dustin got smart, actually. He stumbled across something by accident, and that was the whole candid camera thing. You know, most of his videos are, you know, people getting mad in the ride share. Man, he gets hundreds of thousands of views. Americans will be diagnosed with bubonic plague. I don't know about that. Is this a townhouse? No, these are all private homes. These aren't homes. These aren't townhouses. These are homes. These are all homes. Did it look like I live in a townhouse? I just have, my house is it's going to look really tall. Here, I'll show you. We go up and up and up and up. It's 3 stories tall from down here because this is an exposed basement. So, but they're single family homes. I respect your decision for my curiosity. Is there any reason you don't want to? Yeah. The main reason is because, well, there's a lot of reasons. I think the risk is so low that I don't think it's that big a deal. I think that the masks do minimal, they minimally help support. I don't think it's a really huge impact. But the big one is, it's just, I don't like being told what to do. Same reason I don't really like wearing seatbelts. It's against my nature, and I think it's against my deep down inside as an American to be told how to live my life, and I don't like that. So, and it's kind of weird coming from me. I don't have a history. My family does not have a history in this country. My father he came from the old country, so I'm a first generation American here. Yeah, that Three Dog Night song I was talking about the Elton John song, but yeah, they have one. Let's see. Do you think Americans demand a third stimulus check? I don't know. I don't know. Where's that money going to come from? 3 stories? Well, it's not really 3 stories. It's a 2-story house, but I have an exposed, there's like a hill on the side, so this is the basement here, and it's exposed. It's a finished basement, but it's exposed. So when I'm in my basement, I walk out this sliding door here, and this is my patio. Masks are more for psychological comfort. Mark's singing my song right now, Freedom. Woo! Freedom, freedom, freedom. Remember when Elton John sang Philadelphia Freedom in 1976? He said it was his gift to America. I think it's kind of funny, a British guy singing about Philadelphia Freedom. Well, it might be in Spain. Here in the U.S., it's not. We're not required to wear masks in public places. Not everywhere, anyway. Maybe some states. So, my favorite Three Dog Night song is "One Is the Loneliest Number." I have to admit, I don't think I have a favorite Three Dog Night song. Is Mama Told Me Not to Come? Is that Three Dog Night? Here you go through the comments. I can say there's a significant delay. Yeah, I do it as quickly as I can. Sometimes I'm playing catch up. So my next door neighbor was just outside. This neighbor or this neighbor? That's neighbor I like, that's neighbor I don't like. So some neighbors I don't have anything to do with. Do you like the band Electric Light? Yeah, I always liked Yellow back in the day. They were their time was the 70s. They were like a 70s rock band, right? Very identifiable song or sound. They have that song Mr. Blue Sky has been so popular with movies. I'll bet that thing's been in 4 or 5 movies. I know it was in that one Disney movie with The Rock, where he was the football quarterback and they played that Blue Sky, and then it was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I know that song was in, and there were some others. I should give us a tour. Why should I give you a tour of my neighborhood? That'd be about the most boring thing I can think of. You're already seeing it. I see the guys that lived here at one time, they actually put most of that yard together. I told that tragic story of that too. Oh, there he is. There's Kevin behind us. Yeah, he's a good guy. So, you wonder if the neighbor I don't like is watching right now. I don't know, maybe. That'd be kind of funny. Are you happy working on Uber? I hear different stories. Most of them are negative. Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't happy doing it, I wouldn't do it. But you got to understand, I don't do it for a living. Now, if I was doing it for a living, I think I would be far less casual and far less cavalier about it, because now that's your livelihood. If you're using it to put food on the table as opposed to making a few extra happy dollars, I think that it's going to influence your decision. If I wasn't happy, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I was really upset back. When was that? When I was in Seattle, remember? And I put that video out that I quit. That's been one of my top videos, by the way. People must just it's drama. People see, oh, here's an Uber driver that says I quit. They want to watch it. There's an Uber driver that says, I'm happy as a pig in mud. Nobody's going to watch that video. My favorite EL track is Evil Woman. I like Mr. Blue Sky. One of my favorite startup moments is how it's used in Guardians. Is that like the opening song during the opening credits in Guardians 2? Can you see the front? This is my front. No. Nobody can recognize my neighborhood from the backyard, but this, unless you came traipsing through my backyard. But you might be able to recognize the neighborhood from the front, so I'm not going to show you the front. So there. Boy, I'm almost done. I gotta go get more whiskey. If it gets dark, just go inside. Another hour live stream. Yeah, my health. Tomorrow is a holiday. How many of you are going to be driving or otherwise working on this holiday? I'll tell you, that's the thing about YouTube. YouTube is probably the hardest job I've done that had so little return. Absolutely insane. I don't even know sometimes why I do it, because I really get very little return on this, but hey, that's the way it goes. I did want to say that, let's see if I can find it here. Hang on a second, I'm looking for something here. Ah, it wants me to sign in. Doggone it. It wants to verify me. I hate that double method of verification. I would like to say welcome to Wes Lutman, who is my newest patron. So, welcome, Wes. If you watch this live or later, or on the other side in the other channel, welcome, Wes. Okay, got that out of the way. Do you think you would ever get a pool in the backyard? No. No, it's not worth getting a pool in Wisconsin. You can use it like 3 months out of the year. A pool in Wisconsin, it's like when I got my jacuzzi upstairs. When I built this house, I thought, yeah, I want a jacuzzi. You know, I used it like 3 times. I realized, oh God, this just uses so much water, uses all my hot water to fill this thing up, and it gets cold really fast, and it's not all that relaxing. I thought it was going to be a lot nicer than it was. All right. You mentioned your parents are from a different country. No, I said my father was from a different country. Do you think you'd ever get a pool? What is your favorite whiskey? I remember, I don't know if I have a favorite. Probably Crown Royal. This is Seagram's 7. I'm not a big fanatic about whiskey, that type of thing, you know. I mean, there are some people that'll buy bottles of whiskey, you know, the whatever label, Johnny Walker or whatever. It's just ridiculous. I'm not going to pay much more than $35 for a bottle of whiskey. Remember when YouTube was founded by those 3 kids? They each made about 30 million. Do you like red wine? I don't like wine that's too dry. So, I'm not a big wine drinker. My daughter and my wife both like wine. I've never been a fan. How dark is it in Chicago and more light where you are at? We all live an hour away from each other. I don't know. It could be a compensation by the camera lens too. It might be darker than it looks. But, I mean, we're on the exact same longitude line, so it shouldn't get darker in Chicago first. In Florida, you gotta have a pool. I agree. That's why I want to move to Florida, just so I can have a pool. You do YouTube because you're an international celebrity. I do YouTube. I've told this story so many times, I don't have to tell it again. The reason I started doing YouTube, I got 2 channels, and for 2 different reasons. This one, I started doing Uber, and I started finding things out. And I was naive. I thought that I was the only one discovering this stuff, so I thought I'm going to share it with other people. And I thought I don't know a lot of stuff, so maybe if I put on a YouTube channel, I'll get other people to share with me. That's why I started the whole Uber channel. It was that simple. I was so naive. I had no idea that there were, you know, all these other hundreds of Uber channels. I didn't know. And I just thought it would be good to have interaction. As far as my other channel, I traveled a lot. And when I was traveling, I used to keep I'll show it to you sometime. I used to keep, I guess you could call it a logbook or a diary or a journal or whatever. And I got to the point, I just didn't like to write all that. So I thought, why don't I just start recording it? And I thought, where am I going to keep it all? I'll put it up on YouTube. So that's why I started the other channel. And the reason that other channel, I know why the other channel isn't growing, because I'm all over the place. In order to have a successful channel, you got to stay focused on one topic. There's sometimes I'm at home and I'm making meals or I'm mixing cocktails. There's other times I'm on the road traveling. There's other times I'm fixing things. And my fix-it videos get the most views. My how-to videos are, you know, 80, 90 thousand views. And then my other get 100 views, you know, on that channel. So if I was smart, I would just do a channel where all I did was fix things and repair things and show people how to do things. But that's not why I started the channel. Why did I do those things? Because when I was going to fix something or do something, I thought, someone else might like this, so I'll vlog it. And as it turns out, it was, you know. But so that's it. Maker's Mark, yeah, I like the Maker's Mark bottle. You know, they have it dipped in the wax. Trip deliveries, getting the food delivery, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it because they're seeing it's profitable. Especially during, I'm ready to say, my least favorite saying, during these trying times. Sorry if it was mentioned, but did you hear about trip deliveries? When you think whiskey, I think of that song Whiskey in a Jar, Thin Lizzy. The only Thin Lizzy song I know is The Boys Are Back in Town. That was Thin Lizzy, wasn't it? When was YouTube founded? I have no idea. I can't detail in chat how impeccable your argument is. Your personal freedom when weighed against potential cost to others tragic when wearing a mask for a few minutes in public is small. Well, I think so. You know, I said that saying, I can't repeat it verbatim, that Benjamin Franklin said. If you're willing to give up a little bit of freedom in order to get a little bit of safety, you deserve neither. It's pretty profound. And that came from one of the men who was instrumental in the founding of this country. It's hard to argue with a man as genius as Benjamin Franklin. I know people got real mad at me. Remember when I started that live stream and like half the people signed off? And that's what I was talking about. I hope that we can have these discussions. And I have a lot of respect for As You Wish, who at least is giving me an opinion here without getting upset and angry. You know, that's the way it should be, right? We should have dialogue. Stay focused on a topic. It's going to be hard in this chat. You said it, Gordon. Let's go inside and meet the Mrs. Mark. The beautiful Mrs. Mark. What do you think my wife looks like? I was not aware that you're married and have a daughter. Yeah, I don't share a lot of that. That's right. 111 just got here. Welcome. Remember that show To Catch a Predator? Yeah, the lockdown times me watching episode summaries. It's kind of funny but disturbing. Every one of those shows is exactly the same. Exactly the same. After you watch about 4 of them, you think, these guys are going to do the same thing. They're going to knock on the door. They're going to go in. They're going to wait in the kitchen. That guy's going to come out. He's going to confront them. And then they're all going to say the same thing. Oh, I just came to eat some pizza. I just came to warn this person. Is wearing a shirt and shoes and pants giving away your freedom? It is, but is the price too high? But that's, I don't know, it's a social norm. It's an acceptable social norm. I don't think wearing a mask is an acceptable social norm. I use pretty much all the gig apps, from rideshare to delivery to grocery shopping. I found Uber Eats to be the best paying, least stress. I like Uber Eats. I'm pretty happy with it. When you think about our founding father, very intelligent, has set foresight. Well, you know, they went at it too, though. They weren't all in agreement with the way this country should be run. For example, Alexander Hamilton was among those who said the only people that should be able to vote are landowners. because at the time landowners were tended to be higher educated, and he didn't feel that the unwashed masses should be making important decisions like the vote. Um, and although I wouldn't go as far as to say I agree with him, we do see a lot of those people are being easily swayed, and you're seeing, voter fraud going on, and people are, they're buying them a meal and then they're taking them all on a van and taking them to the polling places. Now they feel kind of obligated. It's not out and out fraud, but we do see some, some foolishness and monkey business going on with votes. Is Instacart good? I've never gone with Instacart. Lisa does Instacart, I believe. She could probably comment on that. Instacart has a bug and bot issues, and I don't think the pay is as good. I'm in California. I guess your hours are different. 6 p.m. here. Sunset's pretty late. Yeah. But I understand that the LA skies have been a little clearer since the lockdown. Is that true? I haven't been out there. I haven't been out to LA in a long time. It's been a really long time since I was in Los Angeles. This will be my last nag. Hey, as you wish. Like I said, give and take. At least you're not, being a jackass and just calling me a name and storming off. So even though I always say we can disagree and still be friends at the end of the day. Wearing a mask during an epidemic with others becoming a social norm. It should be a norm in Los Angeles. We all wear them. It's no big deal. Well, like I said, you have your choice to make. It's not a social norm if it's forced upon you. I think most people would wear pants if it wasn't forced upon them. I mean, you go to a beach and you see women wearing these skimpy little things. Now, I'm not complaining, understand, but do you think those women would go completely nude if they could? Some of them would, but most wouldn't. Right? So, I don't know. Uber Eats is great. I just don't do it too much for the reason of making too much unemployment right now. I adore you. That's why I'm forcing the issue. Well, like I said, I appreciate the respectful discussion. I do not mind argument. Arguments are good, and I'll tell you why. Because they force you to support your position. And whenever people get mad and storm off, what that tells me, they cannot support their position. And if you can't support your position, now you're challenged. And maybe, people storm off instead of saying, maybe I have the wrong idea. Maybe I should change. Maybe I should, as Elon Musk said, maybe I should think about taking the red pill. And I don't mean necessarily you should. I think I hit that one wrong, by the way, that video I did. I talked about it in a more broader sense. And it's come to my attention that some people are perceiving that to be a political statement. That here's a guy that was really on the left and taking the red pill means he's going to move over to the right. I don't know if that's true or not because he never expanded on it. But I never looked at it in that way at all. Los Angeles skies will never look this clear again. I went to a skyscraper in downtown LA. Oh, can you hear the geese? I hear them. I don't see them. There's a wetland right down the street, 6 houses down. And the geese all, where? Oh, there they are. Okay. I don't know if you can see them, but they're over there. So yeah, the geese. And there's always a family with little goslings down there. And they always scare me because they wander out into the road. So, the more I've argued with my girlfriend, the closer we become. Well, when you have a committed relationship, you better argue a lot, because if you can't argue, there's no strength in the relationship. Do you think electoral college has outlived its usefulness? No, I don't. I think the electoral college is necessary, because if it wasn't for the electoral college, only because we are a union. Our nation is a union of 50 states and 1 district. And if we were not, you're going to get places like New York and Texas and California that would always get their way to the detriment of places like Wisconsin and Iowa and Minnesota. And, so we have to have an electoral college, or a good chunk of Americans would not, their voices wouldn't be heard. These geese having a party. Wait, could you guys hear them? I don't know if you could hear them or not, but the Chicago Bears will beat the Packers this year. It's so funny when you guys say that, and then when it's all said and done, you can't put up with the with the "I told you so." The Cardinals will beat the Bears. Oh, wait a minute. Now you're talking about a baseball team playing a football team. A relationship can't be in the honeymoon phase forever. I welcome arguing. I prefer not to. They say happy wife, happy life. You know what? I think as it's getting darker, the screen's actually getting clearer, because now this light is actually putting more. I think it's actually a better picture right now. The problem is happy wife, happy life. Then the man's never happy, because he's always caving in to the wife. It's got to be give and take on both sides. Arizona has not done much since the 90s. There's something though. The Cardinals have a rich baseball history. Guys like Stan Musial, and I think that's neat. I'm glad that the Brewers are in a division with St. Louis and the Chicago Cubs, and because the Brewers don't have a long history. It doesn't seem like it, but the Brewers are 50 years old already, a half a decade. It doesn't seem like they're old, but there's something about the rich history of the Cubs and the rich history of the Cardinals. It's just fun whooping up on them. Cardinals are always, because they're always challenging. We're always a pretty tight division. It's never been the last few years hasn't been a strong division, but it's been a tight division. What did you miss, George? If you watch it 10 minutes, well, first 14, what do we say, 14:46 on the replay, you'll see everything. I know you're talking about the Arizona Cardinals. I was joking. I was making a joke. God, sometimes it goes over you guys' heads. I just started talking about baseball after that, which doesn't make any sense. Because are there even Cardinals in Arizona? Shouldn't it be called like the Arizona cactus or something, cacti? When I get in an argument with my mother, well, you don't argue with your mom. You agree with your mom. I know that's right. I'm kidding you. I know you were talking about the football Cardinals. I get it. I was just cracking wise, and then my mind took off in another direction. Happy wife equals husband with high blood pressure. There's so many birds flying around right now. It's getting to be dusk too. Okay, well, the Brewers come in from the American League. Well, the Brewers came in from the American League. Yeah. I know. It used to be fun always having the Yankees as your enemy. Now we have the Cubs as our enemy. The truth that created the saying happy wife, happy life is just the other truth, which is unhappy wife is a really unhappy life. Okay, that's pretty funny. I don't know. I think all people should strive to be happy. I am, for the most part, a very, very content, very happy person. But I don't hold things inside me either. When I get mad, and then it's done. I don't hold grudges. I don't. It's just the way I am. So, my uncle married a really tough, difficult woman, and he has high blood pressure because his wife is difficult. I'm still married to your aunt because I found Christ. Okay, now, is that the name of a woman he has on the side? Okay, that was a terrible joke. I'm sorry. Brewers have a background. Bud Selig came to the Brewers, and then he became the commissioner, and that's history by itself. I agree with you. That is history. I used to tell you, I told you, I used to always see Bud Selig. I don't even know. I think he still might even have his office at Miller Park. I don't know. You know, Bud Selig used to have a Ford dealership in Milwaukee, and then he brought the Seattle Pilots here to become the Brewers. And I used to always see him. There's a ice cream place in Milwaukee, actually in a suburb of Milwaukee called Wauwatosa, and it's called Gillies. It's actually called Gillis's, but everybody calls it Gillies, Gilles. And he would always be there for lunch. He and his cohorts would go there and grab an ice cream or a hot dog or something at Gillies for lunch. It's only about a couple miles from Miller Park, or which was at that time County Stadium. So, Augustine Ramos, yes, Mark is live. I am live. Not for long though. We've been at this for over an hour and 15 minutes. Would you recommend moving to Wisconsin and enjoy the beaches? No, no. You don't move to Wisconsin and enjoy the beaches. Bradford Beach is probably our most popular beach in the Milwaukee area. It's awful. Big rocks, dead coho salmon, you know, uh, come up on the beach. No, not for the beach. I like hanging out at the beach, but there's a lot of small beaches. If you're watching my other channel, a couple weeks ago, I went to a smaller beach. There's a smaller lake. We have 15,000 lakes in Wisconsin, so there's a lot of beaches on lakes, but not the kind of beach that you think of, like a Florida beach, anything like that. No, but there's a lot of reasons to come to Wisconsin. I mean, the weather's beautiful in the summer. If you like the change of seasons, if you're into winter sports, you know, snowmobiling, skiing, downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, hunting, if you like deer hunting, well, all kinds of hunting. Hunting's real big in Wisconsin. Snuggling up with a loved one in front of a fireplace when it's 0 degrees out. I mean, there's a lot of great things about living in Wisconsin. As you wish is gotta drive. Well, thanks for being with us. I hope you make a lot of money. Thanks for stopping by. I wouldn't waste my time when someone doesn't want to do the right thing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. How far are you from Miller Park? How many minutes? Celia's close friend with Rissendorf too. I don't know, it depends on traffic. I'm probably now, I'm not too far from I-94, so I'm probably 20 minutes away. 20 miles, 20 minutes. I mean, hop on the interstate at 75 miles an hour and you're there. Do you feel full-time rideshare drivers are typically people with less education? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think we do see a lot of non-citizens, aliens driving, and I think Uber kind of takes advantage of that fact. But no, I don't necessarily. I think there's all walks of people that drive. I'd like to see the numbers. It'd be interesting to see. How far away is the nearest large city from you? Minneapolis, great area, or Milwaukee? Well, Milwaukee, I'm just a half hour from Milwaukee. I'm 4.5, 5 hours from Minneapolis. I'm probably 90 minutes, 2 hours from Chicago. So it depends how big a city you mean. Milwaukee proper is only about 600,000. Greater Milwaukee is about 1.5 million. Chicago proper is, I don't know, maybe 2.3 million, but greater Chicago, 9 million people. You know, so Chicago is a big area. And that's, like I said, I'm less than 2 hours from Chicago. All right, what else? I never wanted to go north for anything. If you want interesting beaches, go to Hallover Beach near Fort Lauderdale. I bet you've never seen anything. I don't know. I've been all over Florida. I don't know if I've been to that actual beach, but I've been all over Florida beaches. You got to remember, I'm not, 20 years old anymore either, where I'm there to get all googly-eyed over the girls in their bikinis and, get drunk and try to, meet girls and all that. I'm in a different phase of my life right now. So, as you wish said, the nice thing about rideshare, people like yourself use it to pay for postgraduate classes, and that's great. And you're right, equally accessible to anybody with all levels of education. Should do a video about people considering moving to Milwaukee. I don't know why they would. I wouldn't move to Milwaukee. I live in the outlier. I don't think Milwaukee's, not that it's a bad city, but it's a mess. I mean, like, I don't think it's not as bad as like Chicago or California when it comes to finances, but it's not great. Let's see. So here's a driver. He knows a driver that finished nursing school and drove until that. Yeah, so there's all kinds of people. I don't think it's less educated people at all. You're doing great, Mark. Thank you, David. I just know, I do my best to read everybody's comment and reply to it. I do my very, very best. 90 minutes from Chicago and 75 from me. Well, it's possible. Are you northern suburbs like Gurnee and that type of thing? Is that around where you are? All over beach is fully nude beach. Oh, well, trust me. There's a lot of things you want to see in life. You don't want to see me at a fully nude beach. I would imagine most of the people at that beach are nothing to look at. I don't know, but I would imagine that that's what it is. Because I was one, okay, how can I say this without giving too much away? I was once hired to work an event for should we call it a swingers club? And most of those people were overweight, middle-aged, I mean, they weren't like, you think of, when you watch those old TV show from the 60s and you see these swinger guys like Dick Gaudier and, he's picking up women. No, it wasn't like that. Now, it had nothing to do with their activities, why I was there, okay? I want to make that clear. I'm 77. I don't think my education has anything to do when I drive. Yeah, I agree with you. Is Milwaukee how it was like in the Wayne's World movie? Milwaukee is what it was like in Happy Days. Happy Days was a pretty good representation of Milwaukee, I think, and Laverne and Shirley. I once went to a nude beach in San Diego and the people were all old and saggy. You know what I mean? I left it at that. It wasn't a pretty sight. Not Gurnee. That's about an hour from me. 30 minutes from you, possibly in between Gurnee and Chicago. Okay. Lake Forest, something like that. I've been to Haulover once. You see a lot of loose skin hanging everywhere. Well, see, the other thing about me and beaches, you probably can't tell, but I am, well, right now I actually got bad sunburn because I was mowing lawn the other day. So you probably might see it in my skin. But I am really, really white. You can probably see it best when you look at the inside. I'm a very white person. My father's from Norway. Very pale. And I don't tan much. I mean, when I was a kid, they used to show home movies on my stomach because it was so white. So, beaches and me, we have an agreement. I stay away and the beach thanks me. But I do like to eat at restaurants and things, overlooking beaches and, cocktails and bars and things like that. I enjoy beach views and the serenity of it and oceans and all that. I really like the water. I'm just not a guy to hang around the beach for an entire day. You see me do my my beach videos from when I'm in Florida. I've got family down there with a place right on the beach. So you want girls in bikinis, come to Clearwater Beach. The bikinis are a bit small though. I just said that's a part of my life that's behind me, right? The sun is setting. Looks like this will end soon. Yeah, it is going down. But can you hear the birds still? Is Milwaukee ghetto? I don't know. That's kind of a harsh term. For them, I mean, Milwaukee has, it's like any place, it has its low-income areas and subsidized housing and all of that. It has its areas. But no, for the most part, Milwaukee is not one of those towns that you drive through and you lock the doors and try to speed up a little bit. The reason I ask, when I interact with other rideshare drivers, whether it be in person or informed, they typically share traits that would default them to something like rideshare. Yeah, I don't know. think I just saw something fly behind me, a bat or something. I don't know if that was a bird or a bat. But, oh well. We're almost going to go, we're going to go 90 minutes with this one, aren't we? I didn't plan on doing it, but we're going to go 90 minutes. Northern Chicagoland is a nice area. Yeah, it depends how far north, right? Isn't Boys Town and stuff in northern part of Chicago? They're just disgruntled or bad at their job. I don't know. I think there's people that drive because they like to drive. There's people that drive because they figured out the system. There's people that drive because it's something to do in their spare time. There's people that drive because they can't get another job. People drive for all kinds of reasons. Are there any rough areas in Chicago at all? Yeah, or in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin. Yeah, there are parts of Milwaukee that are rough, but it's not the whole city. I know Chicago does in Detroit, other really large cities. Yeah, but I mean, there's parts of Chicago I walk around freely without any really concern. Same with New York. You know, Detroit. I mean, you saw my videos from Detroit. I walk all over Detroit, but like I always say, I take minimal risks. I'll walk around Chicago, you know, and I have traveled to almost every big city in this country. And you can tell when you're getting into a rough neighborhood. You know what you do when you turn around, you start heading the other direction. Why put yourself in that, you know? I remember I was in Corpus Christi, and I was hired to do something with a group of people. And in the morning, you know, one of the guys said, "Hey, where'd you go to eat last night?" And I told them the restaurant. I went, "How'd you get there?" I said, "Well, it was a nice night. I walked." And he said to me, this was a black guy, and he said to me, "The only reason you're here is they thought you were a crazy white guy." I don't know. I thought that was one of the funniest things I ever heard, though. The only reason you're here is they thought you were a crazy white guy. I don't look like a crazy white guy, do I? Home Alone, I don't know if that, I guess that's supposed to be in Chicago. Yeah. You know, Native Americans pronounce mill, well, you know, there's a story. Not too far from where I live is a city called Pewaukee. And they say Milwaukee in the Ojibwa or Chippewa language means meeting place by the water, which makes you wonder what they did in the water in Pewaukee. Go Donnie go, hello. I get to drive sometime when I want. I wanted a new $1,200 laptop. I drove my backside off for a week and bought it in 9 days. See, there you go. Oakland is pretty rough, still pretty rough, but now it's becoming slowly gentrified because the tech people are moving in. It's getting late, gotta go. See you next time. It's been great. Thank you very much for being here. It's maybe we'll cut this one at 90. What do you think? 90 minutes? Should we cut it off then? So who had, is Lisa still here? Do I have any mods here other than, I think I only have 3 right now. Who are my mods right now? Donnie, Lisa. I think I gave Roy mods. He was complaining once. And who else? I gave someone else mod recently. I don't have many moderators though. I love Phoenix, but ignorance is there because I don't know what's going on. What do I think about the Wild West? Boy, that's a broad question. What do I think about the Wild West? Oh, Ari. What am I talking about? Ari is yeah, he's a moderator. I think the Wild West wasn't as wild. I mean, it was wild in a different way. These people in the Wild West were surviving, and they were establishing towns and trying to get businesses going. I think there was far, far less of the gunslinging type Wild West than in actual truth. That's what I think of the Wild West. People who complain about rideshare are the same people unable to keep a real job. If you figure out your market, you'll have a decent. Well, I've always said that, George. I said, you know, that's really what we founded this this channel on. But after a while, it's like I shared all the ideas that there were to share, and after a while, you're saying the same stuff just in 7 different ways. you know? And so that's why it went from being a daily channel to maybe once or twice a week. And I'll tell you, when I changed the name of this channel, people just stopped. What did Yogi Berra say? They stayed away in droves. I used to get routinely 2,000 views a video. Now I get, just looking at now I get a couple hundred, you know. Yeah, all markets are different, Donnie. I think after this live channel, go to Popeyes. Yeah, I don't know. I got to watch what I eat now. I have my, yeah, if you watch yesterday's video on the Average Meat channel, I made the greatest meal. It's one of my favorite chicken meals. Pretty darn healthy too, depending on how much butter you put in it. That's the only bad thing is butter. Payman, you are not a moderator right now. Donnie, you saw that video. Are you going to make that chicken dinner? And so I had some leftovers, and that's what I had tonight for dinner. But sometimes I get a hankering for like a snack or something, but you know, it's hard to have a good, healthy snack. You know, after a while you get tired of just having, you know, some strawberries and blueberries. So, still live, you better believe it. Popeyes can be somewhat healthy if you tear off the skin and get green beans to the side. Throw away the biscuit. Yeah. So throw away all the good stuff is what you're saying, right? Love that chicken from Popeyes. Is that same lady still advertising Popeyes? I'll tell you, it always amazes me that some of these actors and actresses can make a living basically because they get hired as spokespeople. That woman from Popeyes is one. You know, they've been using that same lady for must be 10 years now. And that woman on the Progressive Insurance, Flo or whatever, and who else? Well, there's a younger guy. I mean, he's not younger anymore, but kind of her sidekick, Flo's sidekick. So many of those people just make their living being the spokesperson. There's another insurance company is the guy that's supposed to be, what is he, like the troublemaker, whatever, what do they call him? Going to make it sometime this week. I think it was a good idea to share recipes. Yeah, that's fun, but you know, only 60 people watched it, so it might be a good idea, but it's not a popular idea. Good things are not always popular things, and vice versa. Fruit plate every morning. Well, I have oatmeal with fruit in it. That black lady's perfect for Popeyes marketing. Do you think OJ did? Of course OJ did it. By the way, you can rideshare drive and get the benefits of employees. If you're poor planning, don't blame rideshare. The pale lady from Progressive. Hey, let's not pick on pale people. Did they put a bunch of butter back in the 50s? Yeah, they did. And everyone wasn't dropping dead of a heart attack either, so there's probably more to it. I remember Jared from Subway. Yeah, he was another one that made a happy dollar from Subway until he screwed it all up by doing illegal things. I spent an hour trying to turn off the BMW seatbelt chime. I never know how to turn that stuff off, so I don't monkey with it. Mayhem, there you go. Mayhem is the insurance guy. Yeah, Casey got that. Customization, Mayhem, that's right, got it as well. How come I'm not a mod, Mark? I don't know, Payment. I don't know how I make my decision. I don't want too many. You know, I should be like, remember when Dustin, the way he did it, if people gave him money, he made them moderators. Remember that? If you would donate to the super chat, then he made them moderators. What do you think of, is Mike Tyson thinking coming back to boxing? I don't know. He might be biting off more ear than he can chew. See what I did there? What's the future, Mark? The next 12 months, do you see yourself in, or do I see myself in 12 months? Hopefully, with more viewers. I don't plan on making any drastic changes in my life in the next 12 months. I don't. I usually don't do things to be a populist. If I did things to be a populist, my other channel would be completely different, but I wouldn't be enjoying it, you know? What did happen to free Subway from Uber? That's a good question, rideshare source. I'm sorry. What did happen to that? They were supposed to be giving us free sandwiches and free drink. Whatever happened to that? They made a big deal out of it, and then it just kind of, oh, excuse me, fizzled. I have not seen Tiger King. Everybody's talking about it, and I'll tell you, maybe someone can tell me. Here's what I am thinking about Tiger King. I'm really afraid I'm going to see stuff I don't like. I'm afraid I'm going to see animals being abused. I'm afraid I'm going to see majestic wild animals being kept in little tiny cages. And it's really going to bother me. Now understand, I'm not, for lack of a better term, I'm not this tree hugger type, but on the other hand, it pains me to see what we do to wild animals. And I just think it would bother me. So I think I'm better off not watching Tiger King. Anyone want to comment and tell me, am I missing the boat? Am I wrong? But I'm not interested in wasting my time. It's stupid. I wonder if they were distributing leftover before supplying certain locations only, and they are participating ones for free sub. I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone that's still doing that participation. Subway cut them off. Not enough independent Subway. Yeah. They're all independently owned, aren't they? You should watch A Hateful Eight. I did watch The Hateful Eight. Not a big fan of Tarantino, but I do like Kurt Russell. I think Kurt Russell is a great actor, and so I was mixed there. I watched it once. I'll never watch it again. You always know how the Quentin Tarantino movies are going to turn out. Everybody's going to die. And I started watching. I said to my wife, everyone's going to die in this. Well, she's not going to watch it. She doesn't like that stuff. And at the end, she said, how was the movie? I said, just like I said, everybody died. So you already know what's going to happen. We're only doing corporate Subway stores. People had to drive out of the way. But who knows which ones are corporate owned is the thing. I would never know. I guess you figure it out if you want to get a free sandwich. I miss my free cookie. But I'm glad it's not around because I gained 4 pounds from cookies. I have Subway where instead of 6 falafels, they put 5. Should have been 3 per 6-inch. You're absolutely right. Stay away from the drama. Yeah. I have enough drama. Even when I make my little sidebar comments, but there's only one rideshare, one Uber tuber I do it to because I think the guy is a complete farce and a phony, and I think he scams, his viewers. So there's only one person that I talk to about in a derogatory way. Otherwise, I try to completely stay away from the rideshare drama. I'm too old for that kind of stuff. Too old and mature. A lot of times I do stuff and I think to myself, would my dad have done something like this? And usually I say no, and so I try not to do it. My favorite Tarantino movie is a Nazi one where Hitler gets killed in 1944 instead of 45. Never saw it. Milwaukee have any UFOs? I would imagine. I would imagine every city in the world has a UFO sighting by somebody, right? And it's usually some big fat drunk guy that's driving down a desolate highway all by himself. Why don't these UFO people, if they're real, which I don't think they are, why wouldn't they make their appearance like land in Times Square or something? I mean, wouldn't that make more sense than abducting Bubba? You have to see Tiger King. There's not a lot I like about it, but it's a train wreck. Well, then I'm going to stay away from it. Show me the rideshare company where we're living in a train wreck. We're living a train wreck. I'm driving for Uber. How much more drama do I need? Subway had a funny commercial. Someone ate a $5 bill and they showed a sub and said there's a better way to eat $5. What do I think about Trump starting Space Force? Do I think it's for fighting aliens? I don't think it's for fighting aliens. It's an interesting idea, and I think it probably is a long time coming. It seems like something that Kennedy would have done, doesn't it? I mean, John F. Kennedy was really the force behind the space movement, and I don't know. I think it's interesting. I don't know if it's really going to go anywhere. At this point, it's more of a I don't know. It's just more of a gesture than anything. But I think it's interesting. I mean, the future of our civilization is going to be expanding out there. So why not have a branch of the military that's dedicated to that. Dare is a fury of Uber, and he's evil. Do you think he has a bunker? Do you think he has a how do I say this nicely? A mistress, like Ava Braun? I need to leave the session, Mark. Okay, David, I'm about to end it pretty soon anyway, so thank you for joining me. I quit rideshare, strictly Uber Eats now. Well, that's rideshare. So, you know, it is at 100 minutes, so that's over an hour and a half. So I think we are going to draw this one to a close. It's getting dark. You can see the image is getting a little fuzzy now because the light is so dim. And no Sasquatch, no Bigfoot, no UFOs. I agree with you, Donnie. Is Derek K a Freemason? Oh, let's not get into Freemasonry now. I asked one, should I turn this channel into that would be an interesting channel. A channel all about cults and stuff. If I started another channel like that, would you guys watch it? I think that might be, there's a lot of that on YouTube already. But that would be really fun. Talk about Freemasonry and talk about UFOs and Bigfoot and, you know, all that type of stuff. Thank you, that's right. Yeah, I love it. I love that. I don't believe any of it, but I think it is so fascinating to hear people's thoughts on it. Maybe I'll do that sometime. So, all right, we are going to say goodbye, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining me. It was beautiful, wonderful day. I'm glad I was able to do my first backyard live stream. As always, I encourage you to like and share the videos. Please give me the thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe by clicking my face in the corner. Don't forget to ring that bell icon so you know when I post new videos. Thanks again. I'm Mark, and this is Mark's Travel Time.